Okay, good afternoon once again. You are welcome to another brand new Monday and a wonderful week as well. So this afternoon, you are going to look at something very, very, very important. And I pray that what I'm coming to share with all of us will be a blessing and will be a blessing to each and everyone that is watching. And if you are able to join the live feed, kindly share kindly share the live broadcast so that other people too can be a blessing to this amazing live broadcast. So today's topic, we'll go straight to our discussion today or our teaching today. And today's topic has been titled, In Your Time or Moment of Affliction. In your time or moment of affliction. So in our time or moment of affliction, this is something that we all experience as human beings, as individuals who have found themselves in this world. And if you are living as someone in this world, some of these things are inevitable. Afflictions are inevitable in one way or the other. As time goes on, you are going to experience certain form of affliction in your life or in your business or in anything that what you are involved in. So before I start with today's teaching, I want to thank each one of you who has taken time to always watch this live broadcast. And it is my prayer that this live broadcast will continue to be a blessing to anyone that has been watching it. And this afternoon, if you are touched, if you are inspired by these teachings and this live broadcast, I will urge you to share it or to broadcast it or to share it to others so they can also be a blessing. they can also be a blessing as well. So today's discussion, I want us to look at the meaning of what it means to say what affliction. What does affliction mean in a simple sense? So if someone should ask what's the meaning of affliction, what are you going to tell the person who is asking you this question? Okay, so the meaning of affliction is what? Something that makes you suffer. Affliction is something that makes you suffer or makes you go through pain or moments of experiencing loss of something valuable or precious to you. Okay, so that is the meaning of what? Affliction. So affliction is what? Affliction is what? Something that makes you suffer, go through pain or moments of experiencing loss of something valuable or precious to you. So we can all see, so when you are going through moments of affliction, it is a moment that what? It makes you suffer. It is a moment that makes you what? Go through pain. It's a moment what? You experience loss of something that is what? Valuable or important or precious to you. So that is what? That is the meaning of what? Affliction. So in other sense, it can also mean that what? Affliction is something that causes pain or what? Unhappiness. Affliction is something that what? Causes you pain or what? Unhappiness. So affliction can come in so many forms. It is something that it is what? Unpleasant. It brings you pain. It brings you loss. And you lose so much in life that what? You intend to what? Give up on life. Okay, so when you read the Bible in Nahum 1 verse 9, it says that what do ye conspire against the word? He will make what? An utter end of it. Affliction will not rise up the second time. So when you read the book of what? Nahum, that is what the Bible says. It says what? Even though affliction will rise what? A first time, but there will not be a second time of it. Okay, so even in other aspects of life, people know that what? Affliction is certain things that are part of life. There are things that what? Human beings, in a point in time, they are going to experience. Okay, and we shouldn't, when these things happen, we shouldn't give up on life. Okay, so when affliction happens for the first time, you are given the chance what? To learn from these experiences, for the pain that we go through, for the things that what we've lost. Okay, for the suffering that we are suffering, that affliction is bringing, we are supposed to learn from it, so that we can be able to gain experience from what life is throwing at us. So there is something also that what Robert McCain said. He said that what? Affliction brings out graces that cannot be seen in time of health. He says that what? Affliction brings out what? Graces that cannot be seen in time of what? In times of health. It is the treading of grapes that brings out the sweet juices of the vine. Okay, so he's saying that it is the trading of grapes that brings out the sweet juices of the vine. He goes on to say that it is affliction that draws what? That draws off what? Submission, willingness from the world, and complete rest in God. Okay, use affliction whilst you have them. So that is what he's saying. So he has accepted that what? Affliction is something that what? Is part of life. But in a moment when you are going through affliction, in a moment when you are going through suffering, it makes you to draw out the sweet juices that what? The affliction is bringing. So that what? It prepares you for what? Something amazing, something marvelous. Okay, it said, well, affliction brings out what? Graces that cannot be seen. So that is what affliction brings. There are times when we go through so many things in life. When we are going through the things in life, it's like the world is against us. But I'm here to tell you this afternoon, that what? When you are being afflicted, when the pain comes, when the loss comes, know that what? There is still victory for you. There is still victory for you. There is still victory for you. And you shouldn't give up on yourself. So affliction and suffering have been appointed by God as instruments. So afflictions and sufferings. This is a saying, and this is a saying of someone. It says that what? Affliction and suffering have been appointed by God.
No fear
They have been appointed by God.
for this is the
Please pardon me. I've been distracted a little bit, so please pardon me. So, as I was saying earlier, one thing that we have to know is that what? Affliction and suffering is something that has been appointed by God as instruments that He uses to make us more holy. Okay, these are things that what He uses to make us more holy, to prepare us for the what? The victory, or the things that what He is preparing for us in our future. Okay, so we have to know that what these are instruments that what He deploys to use to prepare us for the things that what He is planning for our lives. So it's one thing that He also uses to make us more like what? Himself. It's one thing that affliction is one thing that He uses to make us, okay, to look much more like Himself. So what? They remind us that what we are weak, okay? Affliction reminds you and I that what we are weak. And we must rely not on ourselves, but on God. Okay, affliction is one thing that reminds you, and I should remind you and I that what we are humans, we are weak, even in our own weaknesses. In our weaknesses, we should be able to remember that what we can't rely on ourselves, we can't rely on our strength, but we should only rely on what? The strength of God to prepare us, to mold us, and to shape us. There are things that so many of us are going through. There are things that we are going through. And there are times when we are going through things, it's like you can't even pray. You can't even pray and trust God. You understand? It's like you are losing strength of yourself. Okay? But this is one thing that should remind us that what? We as humans, we are weak. And the only place that we can get our strength is to rely on God. To rely on God. Okay? So in our moments of afflictions, in our moment of trials, in a moment of suffering, one thing that we have to know is that what? When we get more close to God, God is able to help us to overcome these afflictions. So there are times that we go through afflictions, and that is when, remember that what? We have to go into the presence of God. Because what? He is our rescuer. He is the person that can rescue us. Okay? He is the same person that can rescue us. So when we are going through moments of affliction, we shouldn't rely on our own strength. We shouldn't rely on our own abilities. When our businesses are not doing well, when our businesses are not doing well, when things are not going on well with our businesses, with our lives, we should never rely on our own strength. Please, when you're watching this live broadcast and it's been a blessing to you, please, I'll encourage you to share it so that other people too can also join. Okay, other people can also join. This is how we all go together. Okay, so as I was saying, one thing that we have to know is that we don't have the strength on our own to overcome afflictions. We don't. Imagine when companies are going through difficult times, they tend to get to companies, other people, consultants, so that they can be able to get what ideas from them. Okay, so when your business is going through difficult times, through turbulent times, you can't rely on your own on the strength of the business. The only place that you can get a strength is what? You need an advice from what? A third party. You understand? You need an advice from a third party, and that is where you are able to get an inspiration to rise up. Okay, so businesses are like human beings. Businesses. That is why when you are studying business, there is something what we call a separate legal entity. Okay, the business is an entity on its own. So when the business, the capital, the finances that are being injected into the business, these things are the lifeblood, the blood. So pardon me, please. We've been interrupted once again. So as I was saying, businesses too, their main source of what? Strength is their capital, is their finances. You understand? So when a business is experiencing what? Turbulent or difficult moments, they also what? Have to consult what? People, consultants, you understand? For them to help them to revive the business. So as we humans as well, when we are going through what? Moments of difficulty, moments of trials, moments of afflictions, we should know that we don't have the strength on our own to overcome these challenges. We don't have the strength. But what? We have to be reminded that what? We are weak and we must not rely on ourselves, but only on God. On God. So there is a saying that what? Nobody is an island. Nobody is an island on its own. Okay, so in our moments of affliction, that is when we have to get more closer to God. Okay, you have to get more closer to God for Him to be able to preserve us. Okay, so we fellowship more with Him and see the world more readily through His eyes. So when we are able to fellowship more in the presence of God, okay, He's able to give us enough strength to stand against any affliction that what life is throwing at us. We are all going through something. Each and every day we are going through something. Be it sickness, be it a business that is not doing well, be it that what you started something and nobody is believing in you. But please, during these times, know that what? This is your moment of what? Preparation. This is a moment that what? You are being prepared to stand strong, to stand firm. There is nothing that comes easy. If I should be sitting here, if I should tell you that within a space of 2 weeks, the things that I've been able to handle or I've gone through in life, you wouldn't believe. You understand? But I'm someone that I know very well that what everything that what comes on our way, there is a reason. Every single thing that what every test that we have been tested with, every affliction, it's a moment that what we are being prepared. It's a moment that what we are being brought closer to God. So the question is that when you are being afflicted and you run away from the presence of God, then where do you seek refuge? Where do you seek refuge for you to be saved? Where do you seek refuge for you to be saved? Do you go to the shrine for you to be saved? Do you go to the malams for you to be saved? Whilst what? You have God closer to you. Once you have God closer to you. Okay, so when affliction hits us so hard, we get humbled deeply. One thing that we have to know is that what? In our moment of affliction, in our moment that what? We are being afflicted. In a moment that what? We are being afflicted, life hits us so hard. And it's like we want to give up in life. That is when most of us, we are full of pride. You understand? You are full of pride. You are not much humble. You are not much humble and all that. And it's like we talk to people anyhow because you have a little something in your hand, so you can handle people anyhow, talk to them anyhow. Okay, but that is not how life is. But when the moment of affliction comes, affliction is able to humble you and get you more closer to God. It gets you more closer to God. And that is what most of us we need. That is when we get to learn about so many things that what life is able to transform us. Life is able to transform us. So when affliction hits us so hard, we get humbled and we get renewed in our spirits. Okay, so I'm here to tell you this afternoon that what? We shouldn't run away from what? From affliction. We should never run away from affliction. We should rather see affliction as what? A means that what can lead us to get prepared for the blessing that what God has prepared for you and I. So affliction knocks worldly props under us and forces us to rely more on God. So one thing that you and I have to know is that what? We have worldly props, worldly things that what are around us, that are holding us. So when affliction hits us so hard, okay, it removes all these things and draws us more closer to God. It draws us more closer to God. Please, if you are listening and this live broadcast has been a blessing to you, please kindly share it so that other people can also watch and be blessed. Okay, so affliction knocks worldly props under us and forces us to rely more on God. This is something that we all know. Okay, imagine a woman who doesn't have a child. The woman has gone to so many places, and the woman is seeking for what? A child to have. You understand? But in a moment that she's being afflicted with no child, okay, and the thing is getting too much, that is when she remembers that, well, I have to get more closer to God. And God blesses her. Look at the life of Sinach. Sinach, who can say that what? I can give birth at the age of what? 30, closer to my 40s. Or let's say 40s. But she relied on God in a moment of affliction, even when she was still singing and trusting God, doing the God's way. With no child, she still had faith. So in a moment of affliction, all we need is just faith, to trust in God. To trust in God. That what? Nothing remain the same. Should it be your business? One thing that I keep saying is that what? Anyone who runs away from a battle becomes what? A loser in life. And I've never seen anyone who has been able to stand firm. Anyone who has been able to stand firm during their moment of affliction and not giving up, and they have never become successful. Okay, anyone who has gone through the mill will use that lesson to prepare himself to gain the experiences for the blessing that awaits that person. So affliction is one thing that humbles us and prepare us for what? The greater things that are ahead of us. Okay, so whilst it's help us to rely more on God, which brings us more in tune with the aim of God and the perfect will of God concerning our lives. Okay, so affliction in certain ways, even though we see it as what? As something that brings us pain, something that brings us for torment, something that brings us for tears. In a moment that what you are looking for a partner, you are looking for a wife, you are looking for a husband, and the husband is not coming, the wife is not coming, you keep asking yourself, where is my God? Where is my God? Have you read the story of Sarah? When Sarah was looking for a child for so many years, and Penina was just laughing at Sarah. But Sarah still trusted God, went into his presence with crying. She cried. If only we can have faith and get more in tune with the perfect will of God concerning our lives. Okay, afflictions will be used as a tool to prepare us for us to receive the blessings that what awaits us. So we should never run away from afflictions. We should never run away from afflictions. Okay, so affliction is also one thing that can purify us and make us turn to God. Okay, it's one thing that can purify us, because when you are being afflicted, you come back and you ask yourself questions. That's why is this thing happening to me? Why is this thing happening to me? Why am I going through these challenges? Why am I going through these trying moments? Okay, that is when most people tend to get closer to God. They fast. They fast and they pray consistently and with purity. And God open doors for them. I have been there and I know how it is. I have been there and I know you that you are listening. You are going through the same thing, but I know it is not too late for you. I know it is not too late for you. Our story can still change. We should never let afflictions to dictate failure into our lives. We should never allow afflictions to dictate failure in our lives. You and I, we are still winners. You and I, we can still become conquerors. You and I, we can still become victors. You and I, we can still do well. We should never allow afflictions to dictate failure in our lives. So there is something that Charles Spurgeon said. There is something powerful that Charles Spurgeon. He said that what? The Lord gets his best soldiers out of highlands of afflictions. Is that not powerful? Is that not powerful? He said what? The Lord gets what? His best soldiers out of what? Out of the highlands of afflictions. You understand? So afflictions are things that God uses to prepare us, to build us, to prepare us to become the soldiers that we are supposed to become in life. The soldiers that we are supposed to become in life. So out of afflictions, soldiers are born. Out of afflictions, powerful men and women are born. So we should never run away from what? Afflictions. So the Lord gets his best armies. The Lord gets his best soldiers out of the highlands of afflictions. What are you going through this afternoon? What are you going through this after? What are you going through this year? Or what is happening in your life this year? That's what. All you can think about is what? Committing suicide. But what? Know that what? Suicide is never the answer. Suicide is never the answer. If you can only trust in God, if you can only have a little faith, if only you can stand firm, if only you can have faith and stand strong, the afflictions and the pain and the suffering that they are manifesting in your life, they will become a blessing to you one day. One thing that I know for sure is that nothing happens in our lives for no reason. Every single thing that happens in our lives has a reason. And this afternoon, I'm here to encourage you not to allow failure to come into your life because what you are being afflicted. Still trust in God. Still trust in God. And trust me, everything will make sense at the end of the day. So, one thing we also have to know is that what? Affliction is the institution in which powerful virtues are acquired and strong characters are formed. So one thing that we have to know is that affliction is like a school. Affliction is like a school. It's like an institution. It's like an institution that what? It helps us and it prepares us. It helps us and it also prepares us. Okay? That what? Powerful virtues, important virtues that we never had will be what? Will be acquired. Most of the amazing men that we see, the men of God, the great businessmen that they were, some were drug addicts. Some were what? How do we call it? Prostitutes. You understand? Some were involved in drinking and all that. But what? They were able to come through their moments of afflictions and do something amazing, something powerful, something that would change the world. Something that changed the world. I think I keep using Gwen Ado as an example. How amazing that woman is. The grace that is upon that woman is amazing. I keep using her as an example because when you listen to her life story, if she can become one of the amazing and great CEOs through God picking her and changing her story from what she was before to where she is today, it can only take grace. If people can be transformed like this, to her owning the biggest hairline company in the country, and she doing well, and she loved the things of God, then you that you are listening, your life too can be transformed. Your life too can be transformed. Everything that you are going through is something that what you have to learn from. So far as you don't want to continue from it, and you have to turn from your old ways into something good, you will be able to cultivate and acquire great virtues. Virtues that can lead you to actualize your dreams. One thing that I keep saying is that we are all not perfect. If we think we can just sit on the fence and judge people, then we are wrong. Then we are wrong. We are not supposed to judge. But when you see that somebody is living a life that is not in line with what they are supposed to be, they are being afflicted, they are involved in so many bad things, let's go closer and encourage these people to become better. to become better. So affliction is the institution in which what powerful virtues are acquired and strong characters are formed. Strong characters are formed. Strong and amazing characters are formed. And this afternoon, it is my prayer that what you and I will be able to acquire what strong virtues and powerful virtues and strong characters through the things that what you are going through, so that we can become a blessing. One thing that I also keep saying is that what we were not brought into this world just to occupy space. None of us as humans, that's what we're brought into this world to occupy space. For God said what in His word that what we are gods, we are like gods. So if you're like gods, the only thing that you can do is to know what your purpose is. And how do you know your purpose? You know your purpose by the things that what inspire you, the things that are upon your heart. See, one thing I keep saying is that when you have a strong will in your heart, something very powerful in your heart, that they say what, that like the thing keeps coming, do this, then that is your purpose. Okay, but because of fear, so most of us, we can't start the thing that what God has placed on our hearts. Because of what? We are afraid of the affliction of failure. Failure is also an affliction. But if you also want to look at failure, then we can never achieve anything concrete. So it is my prayer that what? We'll be able to acquire powerful virtues and strong characters will be formed, so that we can become what? Blessed to our generation, to our nation, to our society. We are never an island in this world. Okay, there is a reason why God has brought most of us. There is a reason. So, by affliction, we are taught many precious lessons. So, one thing that we have to know is that what? By affliction, we are being taught many what? Precious lessons. Most of us have been able to learn about certain life experiences and turn away from what? Our old ways. Because what? Affliction has been able to teach us so many lessons. Trust me, we should never give up on ourselves. Everything that we are being afflicted with, let's get closer to God. We should never give up on life. We should never give up on ourselves. We should never give up on our dreams. Keep doing it consistently, and the results will come. So by afflictions, we are taught many lessons, which without it, we can never learn these precious lessons. So one thing that we have to know is that what? Without afflictions, some of the lessons that what we've been able to acquire in life, we can never, get these lessons. But it's happened only through what? We've been afflicted. We're going through the suffering, the hard times, our moments of storms, our moment that what we sit on our bed and we cry. But what? I still believe and I still have the faith that what? The story will change one day. The story will change one day. Okay, so by afflictions, we are taught many precious lessons. This afternoon, the question that you should ask yourself, what is the lesson that you are acquiring through affliction? Are you running away from what? Your afflictions, or you are standing as a soldier and you are fighting them? Mind you, Charles Spurgeon said what? He said what? The Lord gets his best soldiers out of the highlands of afflictions. The Lord gets his what? His best soldiers out of the highlands of affliction. What are you being afflicted with today? Are you running away from what? Your fears. If you are running away, then what? You are not ready to become a champion. You are not ready to become a victor. You are not ready to receive the crown of what? Of success. No man who has run away from what? Run away from affliction was able to become what they are supposed to become in life. So stand firm. I encourage you and I inspire you this afternoon to stand firm. To stand firm. Your story has not ended. Your story, you might think that what? Life is over for you. That what? Nobody is believing in you. Your business is not doing well. Your relationship is not doing well. Your marriage is not doing well. But still have the faith. Still trust God. And He will come through for you. Unexpectedly. Okay, so by affliction, we are shown our weakness and emptiness. So one thing that we have to know is that what? By affliction, what? We are shown our weakness and emptiness. We all have a weakness. We all have it. I personally have it. I know mine. And I'm sure you also know yours. So when you are being afflicted, don't run away from it. We should never run away from what? We being afflicted. We should hold on to ourselves, trusting God. Okay? Because when we don't allow the weakness to overshadow us because of the affliction, it draws us closer to the throne of grace. Okay? And purify us, win us from the world. So affliction is one thing that we have to know that what? It draws us closer to the throne of grace and also purify us. It purifies us. It changes us. It makes us what? A soldier. It prepares us. It wins us of our weaknesses. This afternoon, I encourage you never to allow your afflictions to dictate to you. Your story hasn't ended. Your story hasn't ended. You still have a story to tell and to accomplish. It is my prayer that everything that you have started, every dream that is upon your heart, every purpose that has been placed on your heart, every perfect will of God concerning our lives will be perfected. Will be perfected. So before I conclude, I would like to share something short and powerful with you. Before I conclude. And it says that what? Be encouraged to be joyful in hope. We should be encouraged to be joyful in hope. Patient in our time of affliction. And faithful in prayer when we find ourselves being hit by life so hard. So, be encouraged to be joyful in hope, even when things are not going well. We should be patient in our time of afflictions, and we should be faithful in our prayer when we find ourselves that what life has hit us so hard. Okay, so be encouraged. Be encouraged to stay joyful and to stay hopeful. That what the story will change. So let's stay strong and hopeful and trust God. That what He will change our afflictions into our testimony. That what our stories will make sense and will make meaning one day. I bless you and I thank you. I thank each and everyone who has taken time to watch. I thank each and everyone who has joined. It is my prayer that what every single thing that we are going through, we will not run away from it, but we'll stay strong. We'll pick ourselves up and rise up once again. And we'll be purified, we'll be turned into soldiers, we'll become powerful, we'll cultivate powerful virtues, we'll become champions that will continue to be a blessing. Thank you all for watching, and God richly bless you and be with you. Have a lovely day and a fruitful week. Till I see you next week, be in good health. And thanks for watching. Bye bye.